Hey Professor, this is my video demo for Midterm 2. Let me flip all the switches down. As you can see, that clears the screen right there. I want to run over my code really quickly. So I have liquidcrystal.h here. Everything is configured the same as the other labs and stuff. There's nothing new. I did for a while try to write a print long so that I could print a long data type, but it ended up not working. It just doesn't seem like we have the proper syntax for it written in, and I didn't know if I could add it into libraries and stuff like that, so I didn't want to try that. I'll be using an interrupt here, and I have them labeled as volatile signed int. It doesn't seem like the signed or unsigned make a difference in how the data outputs from the address high and address low, but we'll get into that more. Since I have two input switches, I have defined them with the port D bits. And then an interesting little problem was because we were using D for inputs and outputs. And so I realized after reading the code and reading your examples a couple times over, I could just declare these as tri-state D bits, and that just runs perfectly fine. We also have our potentiometer inputs up here, but this isn't anything too crazy to solve. This is all standardized, so I didn't really change anything there. Coming to the while loop, these are some leftovers of me trying to convert some stuff between int and long and signed and unsigned. The long value does come in handy, but some of this other stuff not so much. And these are just leftovers from me trying to cast the address high and address low values. So that just is coming to my actual cases. If switch 1 is equal to 1 and switch 2 is equal to 1, then it just clears the screen, and that was pretty easy. And then I have my add and my subtract functions right here, and these are pretty straightforward too. They take the data from the potentiometers, it runs through the interrupts, and then it spits out the proper values, and it just prints them out. Same thing with the subtract. The multiply is where things got a little difficult. This is my basic syntax that's printing stuff, but then what's actually solving it is this set of if and else if statements that are based on the different ranges of long. And so if I have it greater than 10,000 and less than 100,000, greater than negative 10,000 and less than negative 100,000, greater than 100,000, less than negative 100,000, and then if it sits between negative 10,000 and 10,000, it will do different things. And this was because I couldn't figure out a way to get the address high and address low bits to be signed and to totally fit within the ranges and not be overflowing and get the data to output correctly. And so I ended up finally having to resort to hard coding it. I tried so hard to get the data types to switch, and it just wasn't happening. And so I ended up having to resort to really hard coding the multiplication so that it takes into account all the different variations. But the math does work, so let me display that right now. So I'm going to start with addition. I'm going to flip the first switch. Hold on, sorry. First switch up. My second switch is coming up a little bit. There we go. First switch up. We have addition right here. We'll just kind of move these around. We'll throw that all the way up to 511. We can take it down and we can see those values changing. What I do notice is that as I cross certain points, the not having a negative will cause there to be a second equal sign. But if I hit the reset button, that does set it back to normal. So that's just something interesting I noticed. Going to my second switch now, let me flip that first one down. There we go, we have subtraction running. Here, let me take this max one down. You can see it's changing, and then it'll also run into negatives. But I think if we switch these back to positives, we'll probably see that second equal sign again. Yeah, it always comes up when one of the signs switches because there's an extra space not displayed. So I don't know if that's a big deal or not. And then coming to multiplication here, as you can see, because we hard-coded it, it is able to overflow and take all those values. And so we're hitting our, max values, and we can keep rotating these in and out. So yeah, this is my video demo.